Man in shed plays with new Africa Twin. Good evening. Tonight's other headlines. Stepladders become a thing of the past. It's back to school for anyone over 50. I witness the power of modern sorcery. And two blokes talk bollocks just before it rains. The 2020 Africa Twin has landed. And thanks to Newcastle motorcycles, and especially to Clarky, I got to play with the adventure sports version. We took out both the 1000L and the 1100L for a bit of a spin and initial thoughts. So then, first impressions. I'll try and make this quick. Whatever magic or witchcraft Honda have used, at last they've supplied us with heated grips that actually work. The seat is narrower and 50mm lower than the previous model, so getting your feet firmly on the ground is much less of a challenge. There's definitely that Africa Twin soundtrack in there, but compared to the 1000L we also had, I'm not sure it was quite as fruity. Now we all know I'm a bit technology averse when it comes to motorcycles. But that touchscreen 6.5-inch display is visually excellent. There are quite a few modes. You can have as many bells, whistles and fireworks as you want, or you can choose a more minimalist view as well. It is actually quite overwhelming, the amount of data available to you. I'm sure my dentist appointment's in there somewhere. It does take a while to boot up, but you can ride off while it's doing its grand introduction and flashy graphics. If you're the kind of person that likes to get a new smartphone every 6 months, you'll be on cloud 10. There's so much to this system. Programmable user riding modes, so much data, it would keep you busy for weeks. Now I picked up the motorcycle at night time, so the touchscreen display doesn't work when the motorcycle is moving. You have to rely on this cluster of 14 buttons. 16 if you've got the DCT version. Now at night I looked down and there was just sort of this sea of blackness, so I would have really preferred if that cluster had been backlit in some way. The brightness of the screen is controlled by the ambient light around you, so again at night it dims so it's not sort of blinding you. It's a really smart system, but it was about now I had a technology meltdown. So I'm probably the last person to ask about how to connect it to the International Space Station or to the Apple iPlay thing. No idea at all. But to be honest, this is a world apart from the previous adventure sports model. The bike also has turning lights, so when you're riding backcountry lanes or tracks in complete darkness, a slight tilt and it lights up the relevant corner. If you're like me, you probably thought this was a bit of a gimmick. It's not. A stroke of genius. Now it wouldn't be me if I didn't have something to complain about. The screen. Oh God, what is it with me and screens? Yes, it's adjustable. However, I don't like looking through screens. Even on its lowest level, it kind of cut my vision in half. And with all that road crud and moisture being thrown up on the screen and on my visor, I've found that very, very distracting. I do admit the seat was on the lower position, so perhaps raising it that extra 20mm might have made a difference. I do like the idea of tubeless rims. I also like the new Metzler shoes. They do look more capable for dusty tracks than the old Dunlops. Both bikes cut through water with great ease, but at around 240 kilos with that big tank, that's a lot of Honda off-road. I think the Adventure Sports is aimed more at the GS market, perhaps two-up touring to North Africa or the Italian Alps, with the odd dusty track thrown in for good measure. The bike is built very well. It's very comfortable, I like the ergonomics, and it is brimming with technology. Sadly though, it's not quite right for me, doesn't perhaps suit my riding style. Whereas the new 1100L, which is a bit skinnier and a bit lighter, is a bit more appealing. If you were tempted by the previous Adventure Sports version, but perhaps you were put off because you needed step ladders, I do suggest you test ride this new one. It is a complete redesign from the ground up. What do you think about the 2020 Africa Twin? Let me know in the comments section below. My thanks to Newcastle Motorcycles and especially to Clarky. He gave up his day off to help with the filming of this video. Now then, news. Local pub closes early. What?